Okay, welcome back, and we're going to spend an hour with a very, very interesting man, a great American soldier, a patriot, but a man who has seen things he never thought he seen, never dreamed he would see as a young man who had his eyes set on serving this country and going to West Point. He is Major General retired Albert Burt Stubblebine III. He is United States Army, of course. He was the commanding general of the United States Army Intelligence and Security Command. All of it, from 1981 to 1984, when he retired from the Army. Burt knows many things that to this moment he cannot talk about, but beyond that, he knows many things that he does talk about. Most assuredly, his own personal opinions about things, and they are startling.
I spent a lot of time looking at photos, primarily of Russia, all of which were highly, highly classified at the time. There's been some released now. But
these are satellite images, SR-71 images, and other images from
absolutely.
altitude, and you're doing the most elite kind of analysis of targets. Absolutely. I would imagine, and in some cases they're very difficult to bring into focus, not just visually, but what the hell are they doing down there? Well,
and I was responsible for the Army's aspect, particularly the primary. My first assignment is in the imagery interpretation business was very technical, but it was scientific science and technology, and the purpose was to try and understand what the Soviets were really building, what they were testing, what was their new equipment, what did it look like, what was its capability. And that, believe me, takes a lot of very detailed work in terms of the technology.
What was your feeling about Stargate, the remote viewing program? Do you have anything to say about that?
The question is, what should I say about it?
Okay. You can defer on that if you don't want to talk about it. It's no problem.
Let me make one quick comment, because I'm not sure exactly what's still classified and what's released. But I can tell you that I was responsible in my last assignment. I was responsible for all of the Army's remote viewing. They were in my command. They were my responsibility, and I did not. I had two brigadier general deputies, and I did not give either one of them the responsibility for the remote viewing. I kept that strictly to myself. So, do I know a little bit about remote viewing? You might say.
I might.
A little bit.
This is a fascinating response. I still remember in my mind's eye. I remember Bob Gates telling the world that it didn't work and we're dropping it. I remember that.
Yeah.
So do you.
Right. And I remember when the Army closed it all down and said, we're out of here. Yeah, right.
Sure. It's I think you folks hear exactly what General Stubblebine is saying. Is the Army, are the military branches out of the remote viewing business? Heck no. So we'll leave it at that for this time.
What I really would like to do, and I don't dare, is to give you some indication of how successful it is. I'm not sure where the classification is on that, so I really need to keep my mouth shut. But.
All right. Let's put it this way. I've had on this program Paul Smith, Joe McMoneagle, Lynn Buchanan, Ingo Swan, all the and many others. And I know you realize some of them work for me.
Yes,
I do. And I also realize that they had some astounding successes. So We'll
no further comment.
Understand. Okay.
But they, some of those were actually belonged to me.
Well, that's amazing. I'm not surprised, knowing what your position was. I didn't know you were personally taking care of and overseeing the program, which is doubly remarkable. If you look at the top of my homepage at Rense TV, you'll see a YouTube interview with General Stubblebine about his shock and dismay at seeing the truth about the great 9/11 lie. He gets it, and he's not happy.
I believe, Dr. Rima and I were in Hawaii at the time of 9/11, and we were attending a conference, and I think it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I got a phone call from one of my officers, and that had been under my command when I retired, and I said, "What the heck is up?" She said, "The United States is at war." I said, "See, come on, what have you been drinking?" She said, "Turn on the television. The United States is at war." I said, "I don't believe you." She said, "Turn on the television." And of course I finally did. And sure enough, the towers are coming down. I still didn't believe that. I changed channel, towers coming down, changed channel, towers coming down. Turned to my wife and I said, "I'll bet you the information about this attack was in the system and somebody missed it." Well, guess what? Yeah, somebody missed it. Why? Who was responsible?
That's right.
Who was responsible for the attack? And even then, even at that stage, I didn't believe. I couldn't believe. I literally could not believe what was being said, what was happening. And then one day, I saw a picture of the Pentagon, the hole in the Pentagon. And I looked at it, and I started to go on by it, and something caught my attention. I turned back to it, went back, and I looked at it. I said, "There's something wrong with this picture. It doesn't match." Well, that got my curiosity up. What was the official story? It was an airplane. Well, that's BS, that baloney. And I literally can prove it. I went on, highest ranking officer that's ever gone public with the fact that the official story about the Pentagon, at least, was not a true story. Why? Because I could prove that it was not an airplane.
In the sense that it was a Boeing airliner, okay? It was an aircraft or an aerial object. But it was
an aerial object because there was a turbine. Yeah. There was a turbine inside the building, but it didn't come from the airplane.
There you go.
And oh, by the way, the airplane just happened to just evaporate. Yeah, right. And immediately thereafter, they were out changing the all of the sod in the area.
They just rolled it up and put new lawn down and picked up those few little pieces, and that was it.
Why? Why would they? Why, when there was huge damage and people killed, why were they out screwing around with the lawn? I was so absolutely convinced that my government was for me and was protecting me that I could not believe that they would do anything that now has become apparent that they have done and are doing. I'm an Army brat. My father was a graduate of the class of 1924 out of the military academy. Age 5, 6, and 7, Dad was stationed up at West Point. I would stand at attention for every parade that we went to, which was almost every weekend.
Wow!
I would stand absolutely at attention at age 5, 6, and 7 at each one of these parades because the all of the officers that were stationed there
Sure.
were encouraged to go to the Saturday parade.
Uh-huh.
So as a kid, I was there. As soon as the parade was over, I would run over to the barracks and get patted on the head by a couple of cadets that Mom and Dad knew. So at age 5, 6, or 7, I'm not exactly sure when, I decided that was going to be my life. Never, ever varied. I did everything so that I was prepared to pass the exam at West Point and get an appointment to West Point, and did that, got there, and, graduated class of 52. And my belief system was so strong in my government that I could not believe that they would ever, ever do anything like 9/11. I mean, and that was, frankly, was a killer for me when I finally realized that who the real terrorists were.
Absolutely. Well, I guess I could sort of make a simplistic statement, which really I think hits home. It's not our government anymore. There has been a coup d'etat here. This is not an American government of, by, and for the people. Period.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I have to agree with you